Fire away.
Zach, what's the plan for Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah, we'll just see. We'll take it day to day right now. We'll see. If anything, he'd be limited.
Anybody else you expect not to go today?
Some guys might just be limited. We'll just see as we go.
What makes the Jets' defensive front has been for years, but what makes it so consistently effective?
Well, they've invested there. So they've got some high draft picks. Quinnen Williams is. I mean, he's the first one that jumps out at you. I've always liked Harrison Phillips. Their edge guys do a great job coming off the edge as well. So just starting with that front four is a problem, and they get a lot out of them. They're very disruptive. Their defense has played really well. I mean, you just watch, especially these last 2 weeks, they've really limited these offenses in terms of points on the board and made things difficult for you. So they've got a lot of talent behind those guys as well. But I think they've done a nice job limiting teams, starting with their front.
Are they equally effective against the pass and run?
Yeah.
From what you
Yeah,
see?
they're hard. Everything's difficult. Everything's difficult. If you give them a chance, they'll be very disruptive in the pocket, affect your passing game. You got to be very mindful of how you attack them.
Had you known Aaron Glenn before he was on Dan's staff?
No, I've always known who he is. A&M guy, coach there. I coach there. I mean, but no, I don't know.
What's the difference, or how much of a difference does it make if it's Justin Fields versus Tyrod Taylor?
They're both talented players, capable of leading their team. Played them both a lot with different teams, and so again, they're both challenging, and whoever's out there is out there, and we got to be ready for them.
You just prepare for both, I assume.
Yeah.
They're not announcing a starter for competitive advantages. Does it make a big difference if you guys know who the starter is on Wednesday? Does that make it?
No, I think you got to be ready for both of them.
Are you able to announce your starting guards for this week? Or?
I won't do that quite yet.
In general, though, do you see that being week to week going forward, or would you like to really settle in?
No, I'd like to settle in, but again, I think we've got guys that are capable. So I like where we're at because I think we got young guys that are ascending. I think we've got veterans that absolutely can get in there and get the job done. So I feel really comfortable with where we're at there.
What have you seen from Jalen Rivers in his move to guard? Obviously, he started off as a tackle in his move to guard.
I mean, he played both in college, and so again, great film as a guard, and so we like him in there as a pass protector. I think he's improving in the run game as well. So really smart guy, very mature for a rookie. I don't really look at him that way. I guess just the way he conducts himself and seems very mature. Seems like an experienced player, and so again, he's just continuing to get better in that.
How tough is it to balance young guys and developing those two guards versus we need to win something?
It hasn't been, well, you're just asking the question for this week, but it's kind of taken care of itself in terms of the injuries so far. And again, you get scout team reps as well. So it's not our reps necessarily that we're calling for the Jets, but whoever's not starting is still in there as a guard, getting work, getting physical work. Whenever we got a scout team card, we're trying our best to call it as we would in our terminology, and so they can work the techniques. And so you still get to assess a player, and whether it's a young guy taking the scout team work, he's still getting reps, and you're investing in getting better. And if it's a veteran player, focus on staying sharp for when your number's called. So even though they're not the starter and getting the starter reps, they're still getting plenty of work on the scout team.
Just following up on that, is it hard to fight the urge, whether it be you see the sample size of what you got from maybe your non-starter on opening day like last week compared to what you've seen over a course of 5 weeks?
I think those are just always decisions we have to make. I mean, so you can talk about any position and how we're going to handle it differently. I think we're in a good spot. So, again, it's not something I'm stressed about. I think we have really good options, and it'll take shape as the week goes.
Do you take the long-term view, or is it as simple as whoever gives you the best chance?
You guys trying to find the answer on who's starting. We're just, again, whatever gives us the best chance to win.
Now that you've had Joe Flacco here for a couple of weeks or so, maybe a couple more meetings, a couple more film sessions, what do you notice about just how he goes about that, his demeanor, how interactive he is during those sessions?
Consistent, very consistent, never overwhelmed. It's a lot of information being thrown at you. All things that he's been exposed to over the course of his career, maybe just called differently, maybe just operated differently. So he's just getting used to how we do it. But again, you can never tell if it's something he's heard or hasn't heard. His demeanor is always the same, which I appreciate because there's no wait, what is that? There's no panic or anything. He's solving the problem. He gets in the huddle. He calls the play with confidence when he's in the huddle, which is critical for the other 10 guys to have that confidence level in your quarterback. And again, it's just impressed with how quickly he's picked it all up. And again, it always looks effortless. I know it's not. I know he's putting in a lot of work, but that's the feel that it comes off to everybody, and that's a positive thing for us.
Is he at the point yet where he's saying, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I think, let's try this, or is it more just kind of taking the information and trying to work as well with it?
Sometimes that happens more as the week goes. Early on you're giving them the plan, and then as the week goes and you've repped it and you've watched more tape, that's where more of the interactions come from. You're watching post-practice tape after practice, and those guys will have ideas coming out of the quarterback room. And so those are things that evolve over the course of the week.
After the game, you spoke about the need to enunciate better and joked about your Oklahoma accent might be giving him trouble. Did you change anything? Did you speak more slowly or anything?
No, I just now as the game ended, I know now what was causing issues, what words sounded similar. During the game, it's hard to articulate what is it, because he's on the field, I'm on the sideline. So now that we know that, we don't have to change how we operate. We can just focus in on, all right, here's the 8 plays we have out of that formation. And so when you hear another part of it, it'll ring a bell or I can cheat. If I'm saying a Z word, hey, this one starts with a Z. I've done that in my F and X, those are 2 receivers. That's happened over the course of my entire life. If you're calling F stick or X stick, quarterback, anybody in this room maybe couldn't hear what I just said, which one. And so you've always had to say, hey, X, like triple X, or F as in Frank. You'd be shocked at how sometimes you have to do that just to make sure everybody clearly hears what you're saying, and the receivers in the huddle hear that as well. And this is no different than that.
What gives you the biggest confidence that y'all will be able to continue the offensive success you've had over the last, say, 6 quarters or so?
Well, I think, with the receivers we have, when we do a great job in protection, which our guys have had, and allows us to attack, down the field and get our guys the ball in space, that's critical. And then just continue to build on the run game. We can see the pressure that takes off of everything when you're able to establish a ground game. And so I don't think that's rocket science for anybody, that those are great things to have. But when you can consistently do it and build momentum on that, then you've got a chance to be really successful.
You had mentioned you wanted to show the film of Jamar blocking downfield to your guys. I forget when that was. You were excited maybe last Friday.
Yeah.
How did they respond to that? What was the reaction like in the room?
It's not a question and answer session. It's just me showing, and there's not always a lot of verbal feedback that we get. So I know I just want to show our great players doing the little things for everybody else to see. I think we've got a lot of young, talented players that over time will better understand, hey, here's the little things that are getting someone like Jamar to that level and T to that level. And I think the more we can show that, the better.
How critical is this stretch going into the bye, this little chunk of games that you have, from that Pittsburgh game going into the bye for what y'all want to do this year?
Just this game is really all that I care about. We'll focus on whatever's after that. But right now, being able to handle just a little bit of success. We haven't had a lot of success, just a little bit. I've seen how we've handled the adversity when things go bad. Guys have responded the right way, found a way to get a big win. Okay, now you put that one behind and you keep trying to improve. We have not come close to reaching our potential as a team yet, and so that's all important is guys continuing to improve. And so we play our best game against the Jets, and then whatever comes at us after that, we can focus on that.
Whenever we ask you about Cam Taylor-Britt, you use the word consistency as the most important with him. What does consistency look like for him?
Yeah, well, just from snap to snap, consistency in all areas. I won't get specific with it, but he's a guy I pull for. I want him to do well. I want him to have the opportunity. I want him to take advantage of the opportunity. We've seen what it looks like when it's really good, and I think he's focused on regaining that.
You still believe he can help this team?
I do, absolutely.
How happy or how would you characterize his attitude?
His attitude's been good, and again, he understands what we're looking for exactly. And we'll look to see that consistency show up, and I trust that it can.
It seems like year to year, early in the season, the run game doesn't have a lot of carryover from the previous year. It seems like you're always having to kind of reinvent that a little bit each year in different ways. Why is that? Do you think that, or maybe it's not, that it seems like it changes year to year where you have to, is it just different personnel or different guys?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, to be truthful with you. I think the bulk of what we've done is carryover. Maybe it's window dressed a little bit differently, which is more game plan, week-to-week stuff. There's always things as you evolve with your O-line, your backs, and just kind of what you're doing formationally that, okay, now we need to focus on this element of the run game that can help us. So you add that and you focus on that. But overall, I think if you looked at the call sheet 1 year ago today and the call sheet today, you're going to see very, very similar stuff.
What are the biggest challenges this year through this, as you guys have tried to dig out of this, the run game thing to get it going? What have been the biggest differences and challenges that you felt like over the last month that you've been chipping away at?
Well, I think, again, it's you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but playing with a lead helps the run game so much. Helps you stick with it, be consistent with it. This was the first game in a long time where we have had the opportunity to do that as a team. And so, again, having a lead and feeling like every possession is not life or death to stay in this game and be able to just stick with some runs, call a run on 2nd and 10, and not feel like, all right, if we're in a 3rd and 8, we got an issue here. So I think just being able to, as a team, hang in that game and have a lead allowed us to keep sticking with that stuff and give us confidence in that game. And that's just the difference in that game as opposed to the previous 4, where we didn't have enough of that.
It even felt like early in the season, like Chase Brown would turn like a 0-yard run into a 2-yard run, and then last week a 5-yarder into like a 30-yarder. What do you thought of just his ability to break tackles this season?
He's always had that ability to play through contact, to gain yards after contact, in space, to span off of people. And so I've always seen that element to him, and I think we got to see a lot more of it because we got him in more space last week.
What have your conversations been like with Al about tackling better at this point?
Well, there's not much I need to say about that. I think that's they take that to heart, and Al's done a great job focusing on that, emphasizing it. It's not something we've just let fall by the wayside. It's always been a focus for us, and it's unfortunate when it shows up in the games because it's not where we preach, it's not where we rep. So he does a great job of taking the bull by the horns there.
Are you a little bit surprised, though, given how much focus there was on it, and even Al talked about this and some of the players, so much focus in training camp in the offseason, and you're at the point now where you're still looking to
I expect us to tackle well. So I guess to your point, are you surprised when it doesn't happen? Anything can happen, and we just got to be better for it.
You also still feel good about the linebacker combination with Barrett
I
and
do.
Peters?
Yep.
Ted was mic'd up for sound last week, and the video compilation on the website's pretty amusing. Can you describe his game persona?
His game persona. It's good. Start right there. Good. Always high energy conversations. I think if 3 words describe him, high energy conversations. Anytime I go to him with something, it's a high energy conversation in response, which is great. I like high energy. I don't want dull, don't want to be out here. I want high energy. Let's get this fixed. Yeah, let's do that. Let's stick with this. Ted Karras, high energy conversation. Really in all phases of life. Great quality to have. I love high energy. Bring some juice, and Ted brings some juice. And so I appreciate that.
Has that been one of the more underrated signings over the years in the culture that y'all wanted to build? Is that how big has he been?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. How many extensions has he got here? 1 or 2? 2? Yeah, 2. He's done a great job. I mean, it's to have a center that cares so much about the nuances of the position and helping lead the group in conjunction with the quarterback, I think is critical. Ted, his dad's a coach. He's the son of a coach. He's invested. So he understands, bringing people along with him, getting the most out of people, doing a great job with communication, solving problems, staying one step ahead of the defense. And I think he's got a great rapport with Joe Burrow and everybody else who's played quarterback with us. They've got trust that he knows what he's talking about. He's done the work leading up to a Wednesday install meeting. He's already watched the tape. He knows. So I think that's I can't rate on a scale of signings who's best and who's not, but certainly glad that we have him.
You guys have had such a different schedule from Sunday to Monday to Thursday to 4:30 starts. How nice is it just to have some 1 o'clocks moving forward, knowing, hey, that's our schedule?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, that's how it goes. And you look at, I'm doing the schedule for the last half of the season, and we're going to deal with more of that. Thursday games and Sunday night games and possible Saturday games. So You just deal with it as it comes. Our guys are pretty used to whatever routine we throw at them, whether it's a short week on a Thursday game, whether it's an extra bonus day on a Monday after a Thursday or a bye, or sometimes we'll get those 6-day weeks post Monday night. So the guys generally respond really well, and coaches understand the workflow we've got, what we got to get done, and trust that the work's going to get done. Our guys will have a chance to be prepared.
Are you getting closer and closer to that complete game? Where the offense, defense, everybody's making.
I think the beauty of it is we still have a ways to go.
Right.
I think we won, and I'm thankful for that. But that doesn't mean that it was clean in all three phases, and there's not a lot of things that we can improve on, and that's a good thing. That we found a way to win a tight game. All three of our wins have been find a way to win games. They haven't been we race out and we're holding a 14-point lead, which I'd love to do at some point. But there's also an element to it's good that we've had to find ways to win, and we just got to continue to build off of that. That's a good quality to have, that you've seen yourself do that at the end of the game. Now we got to focus on, building a lead early in the game, playing really solid, and putting teams to bed, and winning by a wider margin.
Coach, you've been here for all the Ring of Honor games. Talk about just what you appreciate about a franchise recognizing players and what they've given to the organization.
I think it's important for our current players to see the history, so as they look up there, and I look up there today and I see the names, so I don't know when the names got added, but today was the first time I noticed it. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. I don't know. Maybe it was a secret. I don't know. But I think it's just cool to see. I love when I go into other stadiums. I'm always that's what I do. I just sit there in pregame warm-ups and I'm looking around and trying to remember any memories I have of those players. And so I think it's special. This is such a strong history dating back to the 60s here, and all the great players that have come here. And I've always enjoyed hearing Mike Brown tell one-off stories on different guys, some in the Ring of Honor, some not. I love that kind of stuff. And so I think it's really cool to recognize our players, to see those names up there forever, those men, to those that are around, to get a chance for their kids and grandkids to see them up there. I think that's spectacular. Mr. Lapham over here, it'll be really neat, for his whole family, Sarah, everybody to get up here and see it up there, and it never goes away. It's like when you win a conference championship in college. I always tell those guys that number stays up there forever. Whatever year you won it, that stays up there forever, and every time you go back, you get to see it. And here in the Ring of Honor, it's the same for these guys that get a chance to see their names up there, and never goes away, and pretty special, pretty rare. You think of all the players that play in this league, and have impacted every different city. To have your name up there is the best of the best. It's not the 0.1%, it's the 0.00001%. All the guys that have come through this building. So pretty neat. Congrats to Dave.